Good morning. Welcome back to Chraetor Creative, where creative minds come together. I'm your host, Robert, and I'm glad to have you here with me. So as you can see from the title, we're going to be continuing our playthrough of Elden Ring on the New Game Plus Plus, using my Elden Lord of Decay build. But we also are going to be discussing some of the recent announcements from Wizards of the Coast. I considered doing a normal video on this, but instead I'm going to work on making my videos of the class rankings and not going to worry about making a specific video about this, and instead we'll just talk about it on a stream because that's just as satisfying. So, bear with me as I discuss this. I don't know how much interest anybody tuning in is going to have in One D&D. I don't know how many of you like D&D. I know White Raging Wolf, I believe his name is, seems to like D&D. I know Graveblade does. Morning, Neon. Yeah, for now I'm still in it while I look for something else. I wanted to do Thymesia, but it's on PS5 only, not PS4. And a couple of other games I tried, Skyrim and Kingdoms of Amalur, didn't seem to be all that well received. And I bought Baldur's Gate, but that had been a really big letdown, unfortunately. So at least until I've got another game that comes out that catches my interest and I can actually play, I haven't heard of Stray. I'll have to look into it. But I know if you're getting sick of this one, if you tune in tonight, you can watch some D&D with me and a couple of my buddies. Because we'll be streaming that later tonight. We streamed the first game last week. So I've got to finish my prep work today after the stream, and then we'll stream that tonight when they're both off of work and ready to come play. Which actually brings me back to what I was talking about. I know you've said before you're not huge into D&D. Have you heard anything about Wizards of the Coast's latest announcement? Oh. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll come get the door for you. I'll be right back, Neon. Yeah, he lives here with me. He's my stepson. Sorry about that. Back now, obviously. He's actually, Ow, that hurt. Stupid crayfish. No, I hadn't realized you'd sent me anything on Instagram. Give me 1 second to avoid dying and I'll, pull that up. Stupid swampy crawdads. Let's see, you said you sent it on Instagram? I see why I didn't see it for some reason. I no longer have Instagram on my phone. Okay, I'll see about starting the download for that and see what you sent me as soon as it's downloaded. Now it makes sense with why I wasn't seeing it, though. I hadn't realized that I'd uninstalled it. I'm glad you said something. I probably would have never realized it. At least not for a long time. But, like I was asking, have you heard anything about the Wizards of the Coast's most recent announcement about what they're doing with Dungeons and Dragons? I have. I'm still in the same boat. He still says that he's researching it to find out all the information about it and the implications for limited liability corporations like mine. Yeah, Wizards. Wizards of the Coast is the company that does D&D. They just recently announced the next generation of Dungeons and Dragons and when they're planning to implement it. It's actually got some implications for what I'm doing with Chraetor Creative. Because, well, as you know, I've been writing the book for it. And, with changes of rules and ways things are set up, it's created some interesting discussions with involved parties. Yeah, it seems like sorry about that. It seems like they've decided to change the way they implement certain things. For example, stat increases were a racial thing before. Like, you would pick what kind of character you wanted to play, an orc, a dwarf, an elf, and you'd get certain bonuses to your stats based off of that. Because, like, for example, half-orcs are naturally strong, so they get a natural immediate bonus to their strength score. Or you have creatures called Gith, which I believe get bonuses to intelligence from their time in the astral plane. And I guess there's two different groups or camps in regards to that thought. Is there's people that are like, yeah, that makes sense, that's how it should be. And then there's other people that are like, no, that's racist. Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty sure that both the Githzerai and the Githyanki were intelligence bonuses. But it is, Neon, you've got the two groups. One that says it makes sense, of course. Orcs are going to naturally be strong. Elves are going to naturally be more dexterous just based off the way the races are set up. Whereas the other group is like, no, it's racist to say that you're going to get bonuses from this. And it seems like Wizards is catering a little more towards that size with their newest rules, as they want to be more inclusive and not have anybody feel left out. So they've decided to set it up so that your bonuses all come from your background, which admittedly does make sense. But I think, like I said, I see the point of, yeah, naturally certain creatures, or certain people are going to be stronger. Certain people are going to be smarter, just predisposition based off of their culture and genetics. So I don't know that I agree that it was the best choice. Like, I almost think they should have maybe slightly adjusted the starting stat spread and made it so that you got bonuses both racial and background. For example, if, rather than, because you get 2 bonuses normally, so like you might get a +2 to dex and a +1 to strength or something. I could see your primary bonus, like for example with the half-orcs I talked about. Half-orcs are supposed to be big, strong creatures, so give them a strength for being a half-orc, but rather than give them the second racial bonus, have that come from the background where you get an additional +1 or +2 from this, because if you're a half-orc, you're naturally big and strong, but if you spent years studying, well, you're probably going to be more intelligent than the average half-orc, so you'd get a bonus from that. But like I said, that's just what I think makes sense. It's not what they've decided to go with, or at least not at the moment. That means you're studying stuff that's way beyond my pay grade. But it is, there's a... Obviously, if you're busy with studying, you're not going to have a ton of time to look into it, but you'd find some interesting stuff. I know some of the decisions seem really good and interesting. Like, I'm not mad about them at all. Just a little concerned, and we'll see how it goes. It's, like I said, it's so early in the development that there's obviously going to be changes set up. Poor Smarag, he didn't stand even a little bit of a chance, did he? Well, I wish you luck. And you definitely have more perseverance than I do. Although I guess if it's something you really enjoy, it's not going to seem like all that much work. I know when I'm setting up doing research for D&D and writing and stuff, it's It takes time and is time consuming, but it doesn't actually feel very draining because it's something that I actually like to do. Same with the video games here, like streaming doesn't feel like a chore or anything because I like playing and would be playing in my free time anyway. Maybe stuttering and making a fool of myself a little less, but no, not at all. It's once you're doing stuff that you like, that's all that really matters. I know that's part of why I'm not too concerned with the new D&D. I really like 5e. It's supposed to be backwards compatible, and it's just supposed to be an improvement. They've decided to call it One D&D because they're getting rid of editions and stuff, but that seems like just a push to be like, it's still the same game you love, just trying to be more inclusive. And like, there's great inspiration there for when I am doing my own writing and stuff. Like, when I first found out about it, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to continue with what I've been doing with the book, or if I was going to have to work on something else, because I might have to wait for the new official rules and stuff to be able to make it compatible with the new system. Because it's not a specific D&D book, but it is supposed to be compatible, you know, usable with all the stuff. But it seems like my publishers and I discussed it. We decided that no, that's not going to be the case. There's still going to be the transition period. People are still going to want to play the older edition since it's backwards compatible. There might have to be little tweaks here and there that people will have to make, but it should work fine. Like, as soon as I started thinking, oh, I might have to change what I'm writing, I started working on an alternate system to Dungeons and Dragons for tabletop role-playing, just like we've got Pathfinder or Vampire the Masquerade, all kinds of stuff. Now I'm curious, what does quantum engineering have to do with software engineering? This part's gonna suck. They made magic so strong here. Like, as good as these games are, this is an example of something I don't want to draw inspiration from, is the power level of the casters. It's too much. I guess that makes sense. So are you in like a community college right now? Because I thought you were already in college. And I figured you were just talking about transferring, but with what you just said, it makes me wonder, are you still like a high school student? Or whatever India's equivalent to high school is? Okay. Yeah, every time you'd been talking about school, I just thought you were I thought you were already a college student. You probably did, and I just didn't notice it. Like I said, I fully knew student, it's just, I don't know why, for some reason I was thinking college. Okay, we'll leave a little early for work then, that way we can take the back way. I'm glad you heard that, because I hadn't heard anything about it, so I wouldn't have known we needed to leave early. Die. Now, since you're on Grave, I can ask, have you heard anything new about the One D&D thing beyond the change in the way they're gonna do your bonuses and some of the other stuff? I know feats are gonna become a much more prominent thing, and it seems like they're probably just gonna be a part of the standard rules, not just an optional thing. I know, it seems like there's a playtest thing where you can play little bits and pieces, but I think you have to be a paying member of D&D Beyond. Me either, so I just have to go off of what I've been able to discern. That's why I found out some of it. Like I said, I found out some of the changes, but I can't actually look at the documents or the suggested rule changes as of yet. Thanks to some of the bigger YouTubers, I've come across bits here and there. A lot of D&D people go to like Comic-Con and Anime Expo and stuff, but I don't know if there's a specific meetup for D&D. I mean, there probably is. I think I've heard Dungeon Dudes, which is a YouTube channel, talk about going to certain events. But I've never been much of one for going to events like that. Too crowded, too many people. It's not exactly D&D, but it's made by the same company, and there's lots of crossover stuff. There's Magic the Gathering. They really nerfed that hard, didn't they? They are. I have some of them somewhere packed up in my stuff. Not a ton, but like I used to have 5 pre-made decks. I think I'm down to just 4, or just 3, not 4. But I've got a couple of decks that I've pre-made, and then probably a couple hundred more cards on top of that. See, I need to go this way and heal. That's what I was trying to avoid. You jerk. I've never played the game, but I definitely used to collect Pokemon cards, and I know that Grave collects them. Now, I used to have a nice binder full of old holographics and stuff of Pokemon cards, but it got stolen. And I never got back into it after that. To be honest, I've never looked into the rules. I wouldn't even know how to play Pokemon. I'm not sure about modern rules. I could play Yu-Gi-Oh! The way it was played when I was a kid. And then Magic the Gathering, of course, I know. Well, standard Magic. I don't know how to do the commander sets. I tried. It's because just like with Magic, the cards for Pokemon are expensive. And one of the things I want to talk with the publishers about, because they, according to our contract, technically have the rights to merchandising, is I want to see about setting up a more card-based version where characters and classes and stuff are actually listed on cards. I really hate how creepy this stuff is. I think Finlay may have brought her down. Cool. Come on. There we go. Bad puppies. Oh, cool, I killed her. Well, actually, I think Finlay probably killed her, but... No, I felt like this build was more of a struggle, but maybe it's not. I might have been making this build out to be harder than it needed to be, just like with that heroes, hordes and hordes that I've been working on. I know you wouldn't know about it, Neon, but Grave would know about it. My dad used to love D&D. I was never able to get into it. Yeah, did I say D&D? Oops. Yeah, my dad used to be into WWE. I never was able to get into it. I mean, he was into D&D too, but I don't think he ever was into it as much as I am. Like, I don't think he ever wanted to make his own content or make his own alternate system. I think he was just a casual player, whereas I've probably gone off the deep end. I am whatever D&D's equivalent of the tinfoil hat wearing person is. Oh, it is. It definitely is. If you want to see actual fighting, the option is MMA. Whether it's UFC or... I know there's others, I can't think of their names right now. But anything that's actual MMA is where you're going to see actual unscripted fights. Or, of course, boxing or karate tournaments, if they air those. Oh, I'm sure that I eventually will read it. As far as when, it'll probably be a while till I'm a little less busy, between working 5 days a week and then trying to maintain time for streams and adding in making normal YouTube videos and having games to run, as far as D&D games, and then writing the content for the book itself, and also working on an alternate tabletop system. I don't really have time to read or watch anything anymore. Like, I had a meeting with my publishers just the other day, and yeah, and finding new games. Like, I had a meeting with the publishers just the other day so that we could discuss the new system and stuff, find out exactly what we wanted to do, and they're like, okay, now we've got homework for you. We want to set a campaign up to bring attention to this, set up Kickstarters and stuff. We need to make a logo. We need you to research people's logos and stuff so that they can see what I like, so that they can try to come up with something that's going to be satisfactory. And they want one specifically for, not going to be my company's logo or the game's logo, but just literally the campaign's logo. And it's like, okay, I can try to research that, but they want like 10 different ideas of ones that I like, so they can look over that and then come up with something to go over. So any bit of free time that I did have now has to go into that, and also trying to find references for a character that they want to make. No, it's worldwide. Like with the One D&D announcement, I've come across, of course, the U.S. commercial, but then the U.S. announcement, but then there's also a Japanese one. It's definitely a worldwide thing. It's a U.S.-based company, but I don't think it's banned anywhere that I know of. So as long as you can get a hold of polyhedral dice and a rule book in your language, which I know they produce them in several languages, you can play. Like I know with with mine, when I signed the publishing contract, I signed away the rights to publish in like a minimum of 50 countries. There was a ton of them. And it gives them the right to reproduce the book and publish it in those countries. Monopoly and D&D are going to be very different. I mean, not that I'm saying don't do it, because D&D is super satisfying and fun to play. But I would not expect it to be anything like Monopoly. Hello, Eye of Sauron. D&D is not really a board game. It definitely does require dice, but like what you watched on that stream that you said you couldn't understand what we were doing, that's D&D. There's like no... I mean, you can get a battle map and have pieces to move around and stuff, but the game is mostly what you decide to do. You roll the dice to determine whether or not you succeed at whatever it is you're wanting to try. But it's that's why it's a tabletop role-playing game. It's not a board game per se. So it's basically like you put yourself into a certain role, you say this is what this character does, this is how they act, and you create the persona for that character and act accordingly, using the dice to determine when you're successful at doing certain things. Like, for example, if you want to lie to somebody and convince them that you're actually a commander of this fort and they need to let you in when you're trying to infiltrate, you would use charisma, because charisma is your social interaction stat, and you would roll the d20 to figure out whether or not your lie is believable and actually gets you in. And the difficulty is based off of how well you present yourself, like, actually in person. So, like, you present the lie that you're saying, and the DM decides if that's believable enough that, yeah, they might believe you. It's going to be a DC, say 15, and then you roll and you add on your stat. Whereas if you just say, I tell them I'm the king, let me in, and that doesn't sound believable because they should all know the king, it might be extremely difficult, if not impossible. Like, so you get to decide how your character would react and stuff, and the map is there just to give you an idea of how far people are apart, if you even use a map. I know in our game, we just do theater of the mind. And the dice are there to determine how well things work. Stupid Eye of Sauron. Well, my stepson and I get along well enough to be friends, but, the one in the tank top was my stepson, and the other one is his, one of his managers at work who he's become friends with. Oh wait, wasn't there something else at the top of the Eye of Sauron's tower? Like maybe an incantation, if I remember correctly. And now, because of this game alone, I almost wanted to write in an optional... There it is. An optional, like, madness mechanic, because of how powerful madness seems to be. And I thought that could be an interesting thing to bring into D&D, but as I was coming across watching videos on YouTube, I actually found there's somebody else already beat me to that. I was a little sad to find that out, that I can't remember which one, but one of the Kickstarter things that sponsored somebody made specific mention of an optional madness mechanic. Granted, I have no idea if it's anything like the madness here, but point still stands that it's like, oh, somebody beat me to that idea, so I guess I will not worry about it. Yeah, I have reached 2, Vike. Get wrecked. I swear, sometimes it seems like these things have no reach at all, but right there, I definitely could feel the reach. Keeping him out where he couldn't strike me kind of felt dirty, but in a good way. Okay, you people can go away. I don't appreciate them very much anymore. See, to be fair, I've beaten 2 of those. I should probably... Yeah, I guess I should go get the thing for the Grand Lift, shouldn't I? Although, if you do watch the stream, Neon, it occurs to me I should probably mention, not everything in there is official D&D content, actually. My stepson and I are both playing Justicars, which is my one of my homebrew classes. We're playtesting it, and the critical confirmation mechanic that we're using is also something that's going to be in Avid's Almanac of Chraetor. Also, the Oakish NPC, the Oakish race, is entirely a Chraetor one. So, I mean, the way the game plays is still similar, but just some of the abilities or the specific mentions of this race or this method of doing something might be different. Go away, dino dogs. Very well, you give me no choice. I thought the Oakish was your favorite character. And it could have been way worse. I could have put one of these stupid pterodactyl birds or the Tyrannosaurus dogs in the game. That doesn't have to be stolen. You could just consider it a small donation. I think I'm definitely gonna have him talk about his old master, Iarno, when he shows up in the game again. That should make you like him more, right? Ah, but he's only dead in the one world. I could maybe bring him back for this one. Don't worry, I don't have any place for Iarno in there. I mean, maybe as a small cameo of, like I said, being mentioned by the Oakish as his old master or something. Let's see, where... I need to go across this stupid swamp. I don't know if I remember this merchant. That's why, he has nothing that's worthwhile. Although I do almost want to use these merchants as inspiration for the way magic items get sold and moved around. Like, I'm almost thinking of making it so that it's a small group of wandering merchants that are the main sellers of magic items. I think I'm about to be invaded by Millicent. I don't appreciate that now there's stupid clean rot knights attacking me. Oh, it escaped. I know. Given what I know about the One D&D now, I almost wonder if I should embrace their whole idea of the spell lists changing just to become, let's see, how is it set up? An arcane spell list for like the wizards and stuff. But then there's a primal spell list for rangers and druids, and the divine spell list. So rather than have abjuration this way, I'm stupid. But rather than have like abjuration, evocation, divination, and each rather than have each class gets its own spell list, it seems like it's just going to be the 3. Like I said, I'm not sure if they're going to break it up into types either. Excuse me, guys, I need to come through here. Ow. Dang it. I waited too long to click jump. Why? I've done that run so many times, you'd think I would be, like, perfect at it by now. But since it seems like some of the other conversations have died off, I guess I'll just go back into what I'd started at, or started on at the beginning with the One D&D thing. So like I was saying there at the beginning, and I mentioned it a couple of times since with the new announcements, we get certain changes and stuff, and like I said, I'm sure going to meet some resistance. And like I embody some of that resistance too. Like to an extent, I'm excited and interested. I want to see how it's going to progress and stuff. But I was also worried about, oh, it's going to mess up the book. I need something else to do. What if I don't like the system? So I started working on an alternate option for tabletop role playing to be something else that could be played. And I mean, D&D is already so big, and One D&D is supposed to cater to so many people. It's like, okay, there's not going to be any kind of competition with that. Not that I would want to compete with them anyways. I couldn't. They're a big company, but like I like D&D enough. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to compete against them. I don't want to take away from them. So I started producing my own system for a tabletop role-playing setup. Which I'm tentatively calling Heroes, Hordes, and Hordes, like Heroes, Hordes of Treasure, and Hordes of Monsters. don't know why she attacked me. I wish there was, like, an explanation for that. But Heroes, Hordes, and Hordes, and because I acknowledge there's no competing with D&D and I don't particularly want to. For Elden Ring, I'm playing on a PlayStation 4. I'm really sad it's not the PS5, because if it was, I was gonna buy Thymesia and give that a try. But sadly, it's a PS5 only release. Let's see, what time is it? 9:30? I don't have a ton of time, but I've got a little bit of time if you want to do some co-op. See, I'm somewhat interested to see how many runes you get for the dragon in New Game Plus Plus. Oh, I'm surprised I'm not... There is the poison. I was about to say, I'm surprised I'm not being just surrounded by poison dust, because that seems to happen anytime I come through here. I'm on a New Game Plus 2. New Game Plus Plus. Believe it or not, as much as I suck, I've managed to go platinum. I've got all the trophies and I've done decent, although, like I said, that's a believe it or not thing, because at the same time I also really suck. But it's been interesting. It's allowed me to try out a bunch of different builds. What exactly are you wanting to do co-op on? Are you wanting to come into my world, or do you want me to come into yours? What kind of build did you use? Damn, it seems like it takes a lot of my stamina to go through these combos. Although definitely worth it. I have to say, poison's not exactly the most powerful thing, but mixing poison with blood loss definitely works very nicely. So, where are you at in your current game? Let's see if I'm fast enough to keep it from happening. I don't think I was. Maybe, though. Oh yeah, look at that. I saved the dragon's life. Okay, I'm definitely not going to be able to help you out with that then. I only just started this New Game Plus. Let's see. I want to say I'm less than... Yeah, I'm at 141 in overall, but I'm only at like 2 or 3 hours in on this playthrough. So I've got that much of Caelid unlocked, this much of these unlocked. Let's see, I can now go up the Grand Lift of Bectus, though. Do you want to meet up there and help me work my way into the capital? Since I'm not going to be able... I mean, unless there's something earlier on that I do have access to that you happen to have left and I can help you with. I guess there is the game's toughest golem if you happen to still have that thing alive. That's one thing I think. All my times beating it, all the enemies I fought, I don't think I've ever actually defeated that thing. Oh, I guess I don't... Oh yeah, I guess I haven't gone to Fort Heights yet either. Okay. Change of plans. Want to meet me at the ruin-strewn precipice? I'll go down there and we can work our way up to Magmor and Makar and into the Altus Plateau. As soon as I remember how to get down there. Let's see, is there a drop point? Maybe right there. Sorry, I hadn't realized I hadn't gone to Fort Height on this playthrough also. That's a good question. 0987, or if you have another one in mind. My password's only on because somebody else who'd wanted to play online, that's what they ended up using. Hello, you. Assuming that you start at 11, because I think you said at the same time, probably about 10:20 or so. That should give plenty of time to take the back way and still have you there without being late. Okay, the ravine at 10:30, okay. Probably about 10 then. I think that's as late as it could be pushed. Let's see, you said you're at the ravine, so... Is that this one? Do I have the right one, Mars? Ravine Veiled Village? Let's see, I must not, because I don't see your summon symbol. I wasn't sure which one is the ravine since I don't have them unlocked. I wasn't purposefully trying to go to the wrong one. I mean, I'm sure I unlocked it at some point, but I haven't committed the names of the sites of grace or their location to memory. Let's see, while I wait for you, I might be able to make these dudes explode as soon as it stops spitting poison at me. Pop, baby. Oh yeah, I'm waiting for you. I figured this would be a good way to wait for them. Oh look, they're all popping. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize I could do it as a chain reaction. Don't want to wander too far from my site of grace. So go ahead and turn that off real quick. Let me try one more time. Rotten sausage, I'm assuming? We've got it to work. It's, you just happened to place it right on top of a note, so I didn't see the gold underneath the white. That'll be interesting. I started out as Faith Arcane. On my last playthrough I did Faith Strength, and on this one I've been doing Faith, and because I'm using whips it's gonna be speccing into Dexterity. Oh, was that the, oh, I can't think of... Law of regression spell? Oh, will it not let us in here? Oh, okay. That's sad. I didn't realize we couldn't go in there from here. Is there another boss to fight around here? Sounds like a plan to me. How about just right here? Let's see, maybe I'm being too impatient. There we go. Okay, good. It looks like it's still summoning you.
Hey.
Let's see. There we go. Oh, thank you. Well, that was a quick execution. I think I'm probably one of the few characters that doesn't care if they get poisoned, seeing as all it does is buff me. Although it definitely looks like you got some poison too. You don't have flame cleanse me? Hey, at least it lets us out here. Well, we shouldn't have any problem blitzing through this area. I've never tried climbing ladders with other people, I guess. I've never realized that it, freezes you in place. I think you pissed a lot of them off. More creepy lady singing. I completely missed that there was an invader. Well, that was rude. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't pay any attention at all, or I would have realized there was an invader there, and I should probably pay attention to him. So if you want to lay your summon symbol here at the Ruin Veiled Village, I'll bring you back in and we can fight Magma Worm Makar. To be honest, I somewhat want to use that weapon, but not cheaply in PvP, and not sneaking up behind people. I kind of want to use it against Millennia, though. Mostly because I hate Millennia, and my understanding is it wrecks her. Looks like you changed your weapons though. Decided on Rivers of Blood. Let's see, I think that should have gotten you too. I almost hope that that person comes back, and I'm paying more attention so that I notice it this time. Oh, it lived. How did it live? Alright, I'll be ready in just a minute. There should still be plenty of time. See, between being scarlet rotted and poisoned and bled, I don't think he's going to last much longer. That's an interesting buff on you. Okay. I need to hit the bonfire here. And then, unfortunately, I have to go. Mars, I don't know how often you get on. If you'll be on playing again tomorrow, I'll be on tomorrow streaming and we can do some more co-op if you feel like it. But I've got to go take Graveblade to work, so unfortunately I can't stay on. But thank you, Mars, for tuning in and playing. Like I said, Mars, unfortunately I have to go. But if you're going to be on tomorrow morning, I'd love to play more. And if you hit the subscribe and bell, it'll tell you exactly when I get on. But it should be tomorrow morning about the same time I did today. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. To you, Mars Grave, Neon, anybody else that checked in, and I will see you guys tomorrow.